Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Jay's Fit Down Podcast. I'm your host Jay, and today we're going to be talking about the Baltimore Ravens and why they need to win right now. This is the time for the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. This is the window. If they don't do it now, they'll probably never. It might be a long time before they do it. That's what we're going to talk about today on the podcast. But before we do that, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button in the right corner of your screen. You know, we're getting closer and closer to football season, guys. It actually starts today officially with the Hall of Fame game between the Bears and the Texans on NBC at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you check that out. It's preseason, but it's football. Football's back. It's August 1st. So we're getting closer and closer to kickoff for the NFL and college football. But make sure you do that and make sure to stay up to date with everything related to football, all that good stuff. When you follow us on the socials, Jay's With Down Pod on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, everything there. And subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, Jay's With Down, a football podcast. So, like I said, guys, when we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens, they went 13-4 last year, number one seed in the AFC, thanks to the Chiefs losing a couple games down the stretch. They went 9-6 in their last 15 games. The Chiefs did. So the Baltimore Ravens were able to get up there and grab that number one seed, have home field advantage in the playoffs. Unfortunately, it wouldn't matter because they ended up losing to Kansas City at home in the AFC Championship, right? So, I'm at the point right now with the Ravens where it's like this team is so talented, like so many great players. Of course, two-time MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson at the helm. Super Bowl winning head coach and John Harbaugh. They drafted some really good players over the last couple of years as well. Still got some great veterans in that locker room, but they just haven't been able to get that ring, get that Super Bowl. So I believe now is the window to do that. Last year was as good a chance as any, right? Last year was as good a chance as any to do that because they were literally in the AFC Championship game to beat the Texans in the divisional round and then lost to KC there in the end. So my thing is now, this team, listen, the defense last year for Baltimore, 16 and a half points per game allowed, best in the league, 6 in yards per game allowed. They had a great defense. Fortunately, they've lost some players on that defense. They lost Geno Stone, who had 7 interceptions, led the team. Great player at safety. Lost him. They also lost Jadeveon Clowney, 9.5 sacks by himself. He goes to the Panthers. So how are you gonna reproduce that edge production, that pass rush, which is extremely important in today's league because it is a passing league now. So I'm very intrigued to see how the Baltimore Ravens plan to execute a solution for such a dilemma there. On that note, still a lot of, like I said, super talented players. Patrick Queen, another guy they lost to the Steelers. So, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be completely the same returning defense as it was last year. But for most part, it's going to be, most of the guys that were there. And so Mike McDonald, who was a defensive coordinator, left to go be the head coach for the Seattle Seahawks. So that's another big thing. It's hard for a team to maneuver into when they lose, especially when it's like the defense side of football. You're losing your DC and then there's a lot of impact players. So, but still no excuse. The Ravens are still one of the best teams in the league. Like there's no reason they shouldn't be in the AFC Championship game next year. Again, there's no reason they shouldn't be. So that's my thing with it. Now, the caveat here is the offense. 24 touchdowns, 7 picks for Lamar Jackson last year. Great numbers. Not fantastic numbers, for great numbers for a QB who doesn't really pass the ball. They were 30th in pass attempts in the league last year, first in rushing attempts, of course. So, and Lamar added over 800 rushing yards on the ground, 5.5 yards per carry, led the team. So, big thing here. Now you add Derrick Henry to that offensive backfield with Keaton Mitchell and Justice Hill and those guys, and so it's like, if you're a defensive coordinator on the other team, how do you game plan for that? Because when they run the football, you don't know who's going to get the ball. Is it maybe Jackson, maybe Henry, it could be Justice Hill, it could be Zay Flowers coming in on a jet sweep or some type of other. He could be already be in the back with that running back. You don't know what they're planning to do with Todd Monken, how he's going to circulate those plays, get those guys to football in space, which is what you do with your best players. You get them the football in space. You get them the ball, period. but you get those really electric playmakers the ball in space. So that's what I expect to see. Especially having Keaton Mitchell come back, and he was a huge boost for them in the games that he played. So Keaton actually is a former teammate of mine, with high school with him, and I knew he was going to be in the NFL because like he has got that breakaway speed, and it's like once he's going, you're not going to catch him. Once he breaks through that first hole, good luck. And guys like that are hard to find, which is why I credit Baltimore's front office for how they've been drafting the past couple of years. Especially picking up a guy like Mitchell there. Undrafted as he was, but still, regardless, still finding those players, finding finding those gems there. So offensively, I think they really should incorporate more in the passing game. Jackson is capable of it. I believe he's gotten better. That was a knock on him. Like, remember the jokes is like, oh, he's a running back. It's like because he's not able to officially throw the football down the field, and he's gotten better at that over the past couple of seasons. I think he's only going to continue to get better if Baltimore gives him the chance to. Now, in the playoffs, they should have ran the ball more than they did. And if they lost against Kansas City, they didn't. But overall, like, I think that's going to be part of something that's part of Jackson's game that he's only going to continue to elevate. Which is important. It's going to be important in a conference where almost all these teams are throwing the football more than they're going to run it. The Ravens might be the only team other than the Steelers, really, that run the football a lot. So it's like one of those things where you're going to have to be able to push the ball down the field. And Jackson can do it. I've seen him do it. I know he can do it. So I just would like to see that be brought into the game plan a little bit more than what it was a season ago. So that's something I'm looking forward to watching for them this upcoming season. But like I said, guys, this is the window now. I mean, you think about it, the Ravens are at a point now where, like I said, all these talented players, like in these other teams, these young teams like the Texans, which C.J. Stroud, he's only going to continue to get better. We saw how he was in year one, was Offensive Player of the Year. Like, he's only going to get better. Look at the Colts and Anthony Richardson. He didn't even play him. He didn't play the whole season last year. Give him another year or two. They're gonna have the Colts like knocking at the door, right? And so on and so forth. This is the best conference in football, better than NFC by a mile, because a lot of teams can compete for a ring in the AFC. Supposed to NFC is mainly like two teams, really three. In the AFC, you got the Chiefs, you got the Ravens, you got the Bengals, you got the those are your top dogs. I'm not saying the Bills because we all know they're not now. After what, like they're done. You could throw the Texans in there as a possible contender. So it's like that's the thing. What I'm saying right now, like, and these teams again are only going to continue to grow and get better, which is why that window, in my opinion, is a little short lived. It's a little short circuited here, like. Lamar Jackson, and even for his own sake, for his career, he's got he's a two-time MVP. He's got 2 MVP awards. Lamar Jackson, yeah, like I said, when you win that award twice, you're a fantastic player. He's a Pro Bowler, All-Pro quarterback. Now he just needs that Super Bowl ring to put the cherry on top. He needs to get it right now. The Ravens need to win the Super Bowl like right now. Like this is their window. It's closing soon. I think they need to go and grab that ring now. Of course, that's easier said than done when you're in a conference with Patrick Mahomes. But if any team in that conference can beat them, it's the Bengals and it's the Ravens. Those teams to me are the two best built to beat the Chiefs. The Ravens did it a couple years ago. And I believe the Bengals did. The Bengals did it a couple years ago. The Ravens can also do it. They were close this past postseason. They just couldn't get it done. So now you look at it and it's like, okay, yeah, who at some point we got to do this. This is our ultimate goal, is to win the Super Bowl. And so with a talented roster like they have, there's no reason they shouldn't be in the conversation every single year, especially with Lamar Jackson under center. So it's something to keep an eye on as we go throughout the season. Just as we traverse to see how the Ravens do. Like I said, they lost a lot of key pieces offensively and defensively, 3 new starters on the offensive line, as well. But if anybody's gonna have his guys ready, it's gonna be John Harbaugh. And it's just a matter of, can they defensively continue to generate that pressure? Can they gather teams? Can they make it hard for them to throw the football down the field against them, because they were a good pass coverage team? So that's the bottom line for me. But the Ravens right now have got to win now. They got to win right now. So that's my thoughts, guys, on it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that the Baltimore Ravens are never going to win another Super Bowl? Do you think that they can? It's not right now, or do you believe that no, they just yeah. So just let me know what you think in the comment section below. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check us out here on YouTube, Jason Down Football Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, for up-to-date news, all those things regarding football as we get closer and closer. Remember, again, the season kicks off tonight officially with the Hall of Fame game between the Bears and the Texans. Starters will not play in this game for both teams, I'm certain of. So we're going to see a lot of backups, but it's football. Football is back, guys. Like, can we get some applause here? Like, football is back, okay? So make sure that you guys check that out tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern time on NBC. And we'll see you next time on Jay's Fit Down.